All right. The co-main of UFC Vegas 45 is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Belal Muhammad. Uh, our question for you guys regarding this matchup is, regardless of who wins, does does that clear up anything in the welterweight division? The welterweight's pretty murky, given how Kamaru's just been running rampant on everyone. So does this give us any clarity? Does a win possibly make things even more murkier depending on who wins? Does nothing change if depending on how the winner wins? If it's kind of like a snooze fest, does it matter? My personal take, I think again, it depends on the outcome. If it's kind of like a performance from both people, I don't think it matters. But if Wonderboy wins, for example, I think that does make things a little tricky because you have number 5 in Wonderboy versus number 10 in Belal. So number 5 kind of makes that top portion a bit, murky, really. And then if Belal wins, and depending again how Belal wins, if he wins the way he beat Maia, I don't think it matters. But if he finishes Thompson, let's say, I think that could make it trickier because it's fresh blood to go up there to continue. He's not going to fight regardless of who wins this. I don't think it means they're going to be fighting Usman next. But
so my take on it is I kind of agree with you in a similar vein. I think that no matter who wins, they're going to have to win decisively. If it's sort of a whatever victory, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't mean anything. And I don't think it justifies either of these guys, either moving up in rank or getting a title shot or anything of the sort. Having said that, though, I think Belal clearly has a lot more to gain from winning. And Thompson has a lot more to lose, not just because he's ranked 5th, but because he hasn't really fought. And his last fight against Burns was not good. It was not good at all. So I think Wonderboy is going to have to perform. And I think Belal, while yes, he also is going to have to perform, I don't think the pressure on him to perform is going to be as significant. Because no matter what, he's one of the he's one of the ESPN commentators at this point. They have a vested interest in keeping interest around Belal Muhammad, whereas Wonderboy, he can catch the axe if he's not careful.
I don't know, that ESPN portion with him, I don't know how critical he is. I don't think that, and I forget how those work. I don't know if they're ESPN analysts or if they're UFC analysts. I don't know who that employment falls under.
I think
regardless,
they're ESPN.
I don't think it is ESPN. Okay,
I think so. Yeah.
I think regardless, no one cares about Belal. I don't really like Belal. He just annoys me.
I think this is a personal opinion bleeding in. I think this is a personal opinion bleeding.
Yeah, maybe some bias in what I'm saying, but and this really stems from the handling of the whole situation with what's his name?
Leon
Pokey, Edward Scissorhands. But whatever, we won't dive into that. So I don't know. Again, it depends. I do agree with you. Steven has more to lose in this than Belal does, especially factoring also that not only did he just lose in a bad way against Gilbert, but he's also, what is he, 38? Yeah, so you don't have too much time. If you lose this, I don't think you have, not in this division, you don't have the time to recover that. So if he loses, he's out of title contention, I would imagine. And if Belal wins, depending again how he wins, you got to make it more decisive than it was. Good. You can't do what you did against Demian.
Looking at Steven's win and loss record, he lost against Burns, and prior to that, he had won against Jeff Neal, who we saw fight last week, if I'm not mistaken.
And it was a very dominant victory over Jeff Neal. He controlled that fight the entire time.
I mean, as you would expect, it's not like Jeff Neal's a chump, but at the same time, we saw that Jeff Neal's performance is not the greatest. So you would expect that Wonderboy would dominate in that fight. I didn't actually get to see his fight against Luque, so I can't speak to that one. But Luque has come far since he first started fighting.
It's a different Luque.
Yeah, so I don't know and again, we haven't seen much of Thompson. I don't know what the reasons are, but we haven't seen him fight that often. Well, if it's injuries, then yeah, that's a different story. But so my concern is more we just haven't seen much of him. He's fighting once a year at this pace. It's looking like. He is getting a fight in at the end of this year, so that's 2 for 2021. But I don't know, is that enough octagon time? You know, I'm a big believer in ring rust being a thing. Yeah. So I don't know if that's gonna be against him or not.
Yeah, with Wonderboy, the thing that people always say is, it's tough prepping for him. It's tough fighting against him because he's like one of the very few people that actually just fights in a karate stance. He's not in your traditional boxing stance or Muay Thai clinching like that. That all of that business is not really as applicable with him. Not that he can't do it, but he's more really traditional, in that other stance. So. That's always what they say, but so far you look at it right there. You can see it in the screen we have here. 2 wins in his last 5, and yeah, it's not really spans back to 3 years, 3.5 years. So we'll see. Now we'll take a look on Belal's side too. What his how he again the nice looking record, 19-3. He had the win against Demian again. Like there was no wondering who won that fight, but again, he just wasn't doing much with it. It was a lot of control for the sake of control almost. He was like playing defensive offense. It was very strange. It was like you don't have the confidence to do something against an old Demian Maia. It was very bizarre seeing that performance. Like here, let's look at this. 45 significant strikes. Well, am I remembering this? I thought he was 0 control time. Oh, you know what? I think it was the takedown attempts was kind of what was ridiculous for Demian.
Was this the one where we had said like it was like a one long takedown, like the takedown just didn't stop for the entire fight?
Yeah, I had to win this.
Yeah, because 21 takedown attempts is, you know what it was? Because Belal was doing the single foot hopping thing. Like every time Maia would go for a takedown, he would hop back up to the cage.
What the heck am I thinking of then? I thought he was controlling Demian the whole time.
At this point, we've seen so many fights that I can't fault you for getting 1 or 2 mixed up, man. Like
I just remember for sure watching this fight, I was all like, this is so unimpressive with your standing and Damian's current standing. Demian is obviously a legend. But I'm just saying today's Demian Maia is not. You should be able to have done more than you did against this current Demian Maia. So obviously before that, he was fighting Leon very briefly because he got his eye gouged. Nothing, and there's really not much to gauge in that fight. Like I'm not part of those people that are speculating. Yeah, but the way Leon looked in that first round, for sure he was. You don't know for sure anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that. And I remember he fought. I always mix up the. I believe the UFC's is Diego. Yeah, I think the UFC's is Diego Lima. But again, I wasn't overly impressed in that fight either. It was nothing crazy. So we're big on finishing fights unless you're being active. No, not just kind of lay and pray or controlling against the fence. And look, you have your last 4 fights, one's a no contest fight, and the other ones are unanimous decision wins. So yeah, good. You're getting W's, which is important. But I'm not that high on Belal. Now that could change based on what we see in this next fight.
So what do you think is going to happen in this fight then?
Man, it's a weird one for me to pick. And part of it, like, I don't know. I'll say Wonderboy, but I don't say it with much confidence. Like the betting lines, I think, are nuts on this. If we pull that up real quick, minus 240 for Wonderboy, plus 200 for Belal. I would say if you're thinking Thompson's going to win, I don't think this is worth it unless you have like a 3 or 4 leg parlay and you want to throw this on top. If you're super confident, sure. Otherwise, definitely not worth it. Like even to dump a considerable amount of money on as like a straight bet. So I say yes, Thompson, but I don't say it with almost a 2.5 to 1 favorite level of confidence.
So I will pick Belal. And my reasoning being is that for everything we said about the Maia fight, I think Thompson is probably not going to try to take him down, and Belal he won't. So, and Belal is, I would hazard to say that Belal might go for some takedowns. I don't think it would be wise to sit there and trade with Thompson. And if it does end up down on the ground and Belal can hold him there, I think that edges Belal into a victory. Now, having said that, I don't think that's how he should win, because if he, let's say, takes Wonderboy down, keeps him there for 15 minutes, that's not decisive. That's you're going now into decision because you had control, unless he wins by sub. But correct me if I'm wrong, the record will show he's got 1 sub in throughout his entire record. So I'm not anticipating Belal to win by submission.
Also, got 5 finishes out of his 19 wins.
I'm so sorry, dude. What did you say?
5. So he's won 4 times by KO, TKO, and 1 sub. You've won 19 times. That means that means you have 14 wins by decision.
Yeah. No, it's not a good show. You need to be decisive. He needs to have a finish. So whether that comes in the form of a sub or in a TKO, I think that's how he needs to win. Now, again, since I'm picking him, I'd be happy either way. But for the good of the sport, for the good of the division, I think there needs to be some sort of decisiveness to give us an indication of where the rankings need to move and who needs to move around to where. As far as the line goes, I'm going all sorts of bananas. As far as the line goes, I don't think this is accurate. This should be much closer, because it's crazy. Again, we haven't seen Wonderboy fight that often, 1 fight per year for the past few years, whereas Belal had 3 in 2021. So I don't know what Vegas is seeing, and he's now going to have 4 in 2021. So I don't know what Vegas is seeing, but this is, I think, a really good buy. If you're going to pick Muhammad, you're buying him at a very, very good price. And I agree with you on the Wonderboy thing. Even if I were a fan, that's too steep for me to want to gamble on.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, if you are going to make a play on this, I think it makes more sense. Belal's value is much better than what Wonderboy's is. Because similar to what I was saying with the Lewis video we did, if Lewis wins, I won't be surprised. The same way I wouldn't be surprised if Belal won. Like, plus 200 is, like, if a plus 200 wins, I'm kind of like, oh, wow, okay. But, like, I wouldn't feel that way if Belal won. I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's pretty reasonable. I'm not that caught off guard by that victory. So we'll see. I mean, which Wonderboy do we kind of see? Like, is he going to get controlled again? Because possibly Belal might see what Burns did, try and use that as a blueprint, but also at the same time, Thompson's going to be making sure to kind of plug those holes, you would imagine. So it'll be interesting to see who kind of pulls away, and hopefully it's an entertaining bout. I don't have high expectations for this fight, so I'm just saying that. But hopefully then I can be happier. And just so to final thing then being, so let us know again what you guys think, regardless of who wins. What does that do with this division? It's very murky up there. And any other takes? Like, who do you think is going to win? Are the lines making sense to you? Is overinflated in favor of Thompson? Is it accurate? Any other things? Or
do
why
we suck? Do you hate us?
Why do we
casual are we?
Yeah, let us know. And then we'll see who pulls what.